What is up, everyone? It's Hadi Kalakesh, ready to bring you a scouting report on a potential hidden gem for the 2024 NHL Draft. We'll be talking about Luke Osburn today. Now, I've been looking for a hidden gem for the past couple weeks, and I think I've found one here in Osburn. He is a September '06 birthday. He was actually 6 days away. If he was born 6 days later, he would have been eligible for 2025 instead. So really one of the youngest players in the 2024 class. 6 foot 172, which is something I love because this really means that this is a player who has some weight to add, and we'll get into why that's so important for his game later on in the kind of breakdown. I'll be showing you some clips, kind of breaking down his strengths and weaknesses, and yeah, this is going to be a bit of a different format of video than what I've been putting out here on the channel. No script, no background music, no kind of preparation, just kind of heading into this and breaking down what I like about this player. As you can see here, he's ranked nowhere except for DobberProspects rankings at 63rd overall. And if you don't know me outside of these videos, I am the director of North American Scouting for DobberProspects. But I can't take any credit for this. Our head scout, Sebastian High, and our USA scout, David Sod, really pushed the table to get Luke Osburn in our top 64. But I was a bit more skeptical, and I'll get into why a bit more in detail later on, but mainly has to do with the production. 13 points in 44 games with the Youngstown Phantoms in the USHL isn't ideal production-wise. He hasn't really been standing out production-wise, really, and in early games, I was kind of not really impressed with the viewings either. And I'll get into the details further on, but just to explain what's going on with the production, this is a second-pair defenseman on a team that's struggling to perform right now and put up points. If you can look right here, they only have one player in their whole roster who's above a point per game, and it's Charlie Serrato. The rest of the roster is below a point per game, and Luke Osburn is right over here at 16th in scoring on the team with 13 and 44 games. But the more I've watched him, especially in recent viewings, the more I've been really impressed. One of the games I have clips for and that I scouted in detail is his 7-1 win against the Chicago Steel, and for me, this was by far his best game. He played exceptionally well in all three zones, and I'll really be kind of delving into what he's good at, what his strengths are, what his weaknesses are in the next segment. So stay tuned for that. And just remember, this is number 13 on defense for Youngstown. They play in either purple or in white. I'll highlight him in the video a couple times to make sure you can keep track of where he is on the ice. But yeah, number 13 left-handed defenseman. So without further ado, let's get right into it with the clips. I want to start off with a big strength in Luke Osburn's game, and it's his skating. Now, I can talk you through the technicalities of, the edge work, the weight transfers, the hip and ankle flexion, and all that, technical stuff, but I care a lot more about the output with a player when it comes to skating. So it's how they use their skating to benefit their game. And for me, the output shows up the most in Luke Osburn's game when it comes to defending the rush. You're going to see a bunch of clips now of Luke Osburn using his skating really intelligently and really efficiently in order to defend a rush. We start off with a rush defending scenario where he's facing the play, defends backwards, and makes a great play after that to collect the puck and play it outwards. So the skating is really good in all four directions, but for me, Luke Osburn's at his best when he's defending while skating towards the play. So skating forwards, technically. But he's also able to close gaps really efficiently. You see that a lot in his game where he's able to pivot towards a play and push it aggressively. He's really good at putting opposing forwards on his back and making plays. He's able to match footwork really well and keep up with forwards who are skating towards him, even when he's skating backwards, which is a really interesting part of his game. But I also really like the reads in his game. When it comes to rush defending, he's really good at kind of keeping his threats in consideration. He can the play in front of him and make him smart plays. So overall, he just consistently helps his defense pair partner in terms of getting pucks out, making plays at with high efficiency to get the puck out of his zone as soon as possible. He's able to reload under plays. He's able to, kind of keep his stick in front of him, keep the forward at bay. And overall, this leads to a lot of great scoring chances for his team because he's able to not only, defend the rush and neutralize puck carriers going towards him, but he's able to collect pucks, move in the opposite side. And when he needs to, he can just throw the body and get physical, which is another interesting aspect of his game. I also really like that he doesn't bite on dekes. He stays with forwards as they try to kind of stick handle through and find, an escape. He's able to keep up with them footwork wise. And again, just constantly keeps his options in front of him, constantly keeps a mental map of where his opponents are. And consistently, this is what's been creating chances for Youngstown when he's on the ice. He makes a defensive play, collects a puck, and plays a smart, easy pass out of his zone to kind of throw the puck up the ice as soon as possible. Osborne's shot is another thing that feeds off of his skating. Even though sometimes he tends to just shoot pucks from distance, a lot of the time you'll see him change the angle of his shot a little bit before releasing, which helps him kind of find these soft spots from which to shoot, these little lanes that other defensemen wouldn't have access to. It's not a bona fide strength in his game, but there's another aspect that we're going to see in a second that leads to this goal right here that he scored. His ability to catch pucks in motion. He constantly does this. He never needs to stop moving his feet. This is something that a lot of defensemen, especially draft eligibles, will struggle with. They have to stop moving their feet in order to, make a play, either whether that's catching a puck, making a pass, taking a shot, that kind of thing. Osburn never needs to slow down. In fact, he can speed up while catching a puck, while receiving a pass, while retrieving a puck as well, that kind of thing. And that helps him be a lot more fluid, make plays at a higher pace, at an NHL pace. This is something that helps him a lot. This doesn't really count in that, but because we've seen so many breakout plays, I do want to highlight this pass as well. I love the way he kind of blends deception into this pass and makes sure that it lands to the right target. And next up, we get to the part that really changed much of my perception of Luke Osburn, and it's his stick handling ability. Earlier on in the season, I saw him as a puck-moving defenseman that didn't really have a standout offensive tool, and those players don't usually succeed as much. But what's been really obvious in the last couple of games that I've watched of Luke Osburn is that he's trusting his hands a lot more. I love the deception, the manipulation, the stick handling ability. He's got a really wide arsenal of tools stick handling wise as well, and he combines it really well with his good skating in order to kind of create some offensive zone time for himself. Even though sometimes he can overdo it, sometimes he can go a bit overboard, most of the time you're going to see him be really reliable, and I love this move right here, mainly because it reminds me a lot of Lane Hudson. This is Lane Hudson's favorite move, this inside-out, double deke that he did there. So overall, we've got a player who's trusting his hands a lot more, who's using them situationally as well, which is a really beneficial part of, the tools that he has. Again, this is a player that sometimes can overdo it, but I'd rather see a player who's overdoing it than a player who's underdoing it. On top of having good puck skills and being a good skater, Osborn also has some great habits. He scans constantly on retrievals, which helps him kind of identify his next option quickly and kind of figure out what the distance is between him and his opponent. We see that again here as he scans for the forechecker and then quickly identifies that the best play is to initiate contact and make a rim pass within that contact, and that helps his team break the puck out easily. He's also a constant activator. He's always looking to jump into rushes and kind of hit that soft ice on the wide side, which gets him a lot of his points in the USHL.
Circle. Burchell trades places. Skating in. There's a shot and a goal, and it's 3-0 on the Osburn goal. Oh, my.
Phantoms backhanded back out to neutral. Chip it into the Rough Rider zone. Ramos slides it across. Shot, goal!
There's the offensive zone. Regained by Solivane, but now Osburn keeps in. Far side down to the corner. Osburn continues for a Smith to the near side corner. Brecken Smith out for Botterill, he scores! Anderson, who the Jacks were in the midst of a line change. Face off one back by Youngstown, firing on net. Turned aside and the rebound's in. It's Miles Gunty, his second goal.
Another habit in Luke Osborn's game that I love my defenseman to have is how aggressive he is on pinches, whether that's in the offensive zone, in the neutral zone, or at his own blue line. He's always looking for ways in which he can nip attacks in the bud before they happen. He intervenes at the right times. He doesn't really rush things either. He's not the type of player that throws himself into puck battles needlessly or pinches too aggressively. I think he times it really, really well. And on top of that, he just uses his awareness really well to kind of identify what the next pass is likely to be and intervene in those passes to make sure that the attack that is about to unfold doesn't happen, rather than dealing with the attack once it happens. He's really good at preventing scoring chances, essentially, and it's leading to a lot of great opportunities for his team. I especially love this play because this pinch right here could have led to a 2-on-1 for his teammates. Unfortunately, the forward in front of him gets his stick on the puck. It goes back, but he reloads, fires a puck up the ice, and then creates another scoring chance for his team off his stick. So this is one of the many ways he creates scoring chances. I also want to highlight Osborn's in-zone defending. He's pretty good with his stick down low. I feel like he does a good job of intercepting pucks and disrupting plays under the goal line. He's also really good at picking up checks in the slot. He identifies threats really, really well. It's useful with the scanning and all that. It helps him a lot in terms of disrupting plays. We see that again on this next play as he tackles a player right before he gets the pass in the low slot, preventing a scoring chance. I especially like this next play. It starts with a rush defending sequence, but then after that, he follows his check to the low slot, sticks to his check, disengages, and then anticipates this rim pass, gets his stick in there, turns the puck over for his team, and it leads to an easy breakout. And last but not least, I do want to mention the main area of weakness in Luke Osburn's game, and it's the physicality. There's two issues with it. The first is obviously the strength, which is why I mentioned at the beginning of the video that it's super important that he has the frame. He's 6 foot 172, so he's got room to add that weight and counteract that weakness. But the other issue is technique. He hasn't learned how to pin players effectively yet, so he leaves their hands free, which means that they can still make plays when he's pinning them, which isn't ideal. But overall, I mean, he's got the skill, he's got the skating, he's got really high IQ, and he's got surprisingly good habits for a player who's one of the youngest in the class. So I see him as kind of a potential Brett Kulak with a bit more skill, potentially kind of a second pair puck-moving defenseman who will be mainly tasked with defending the rush. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. Leave me a comment letting me know as well what you think of this format, and I hope you tune in next time. Hattie out.